I want you to imagine that you're at work. Your day is really, really starting to get backed up. You have a lunchtime meeting, and on top of that, thinking that maybe you could sneak away a little after lunch or a little before lunch, you have a bunch of fires you need to put out. Maybe you're traveling. Maybe your flight's really delayed. It's a longer flight. They don't really serve you any edible food on the plane, and you get to your hotel well after midnight, and it's in an area with not a lot open aside from fast food. Imagine you're a parent and you're chauffeuring your kids around, and you thought maybe between activity one and activity two, we'd be able to stop and get a healthy bite to eat. But activity one took a hell of a lot longer than you thought it would. You're already late to activity two. And so you're going to have to stop at some point after that. And there aren't a lot of good options that are quick, easy. If this sounds like something that you've encountered in the past, then you're definitely going to want to listen to this message because proper preparation does prevent poor performance. I'll get into that in just a second, but I'm Pete Weintraub. I'm a permanent weight loss specialist, and you're listening to the Weight Loss by Pete podcast. I'm live streaming this on my YouTube channel, and you can listen to my podcast at any time on iTunes, SoundCloud, or Stitcher. So getting back, we've all had these situations, right, where you can have the best intentions. You may have a routine set up and in certain places that you may go to get healthy fare, but at the end of the day, you may not be able to really follow through. Things always inevitably pop up, and we'll often think we have a schedule or a plan heading into a day, and then we get double what we expected toppled on top of it. So in keeping to this, I heard a great motivational speech while I was in college. I don't remember the exact class this was for. In fact, I think this was a BS liberal arts requirement that I could give less of a shit about. But they brought in a highly ranked military general for the United States. I think it was the Army. I'm not really sure even where he was from or who he was, but I never heard this before. Maybe I was living under a rock. I don't know. I'm sure many of you have heard this at many points throughout your life. But he kept repeating, and the whole basis of his speech was that proper preparation prevents poor performance, or P to the fifth power. And essentially what that means is that regardless of the curveballs life throws at you, regardless of your circumstances and anything unexpected that may pop up, if you're prepared, then you're still going to perform well, even when a whole bunch of crap that you weren't expecting to be thrown onto your plate is. And this happens quite a bit. In fact, this podcast was fueled today because I have a newer client who's on board, and he texted me saying, "Hey, man, I'm just letting you know," because I review his nutrition every morning for the day before. And he said, "You're going to see a sandwich in there because I had a lunchtime meeting. This is where this came from." And I was like, all right, I mean, if that's what you have to do, but you don't have to eat the bread. Like, find a sandwich. It has a lot of stuff inside, like vegetables, meats, whatever, and eat that and try and get away with some other stuff. Maybe the place has an apple or something that you can have instead of the bread. Like, there's always a solution for this. And I also wanted to tell him, and I did, and obviously you're learning about it as well. I want to give you a couple of tips today that you can prepare yourself with. So whether you are on the go in your car, you're traveling, or you are at work and normally maybe you have a go-to place for lunch, but you're not able to get there today or sometime in the near future for whatever the reason, you don't want to be a victim to life circumstances. And I've talked about this a lot lately, and I can't emphasize it enough. This victim mentality that so many people have today. The life happens to them. It's not their fault that they're overweight or they fall off the wagon because XYZ popped up. And there are some disastrous circumstances that can pop up, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, it's up to us as individuals to pave our way and to carve out what we want to accomplish. And the only way to do that is to take responsibility. So, in keeping with proper preparation prevents poor performance, I'm going to give you a couple of quick tips that you can use starting today so that you're well off. So, for starters, let's talk about, let's say you're in the car a lot, whether you're chauffeuring kids, whether your job entails quite a bit of driving, whatever the case may be, and you have an unexpected pit stop you need to make or detour, and all of a sudden what turned out from being a good lunch ends up being you either have to get crap or you don't have a lot of options. I very simply, all the time, have a canister of raw nuts in my car. Right now, they're Brazil nuts. Sometimes they're cashews. Sometimes they're almonds. Sometimes they're walnuts, whatever. Get some raw nuts, get some raw seeds, and just put them in your glove box and just leave them there. I mean, they don't go bad for a while. So they can last for a couple of months. And basically what happens is I'm on the go, a few days a week for a vast majority of the day. So what I like to do is rather than starving, or rather than caving in and saying I'm going to make a shitty decision, I'll end up instead having a handful or two of some raw nuts. And guess what? I've satiated my hunger. I'm full for a few more hours. I'm able to think clearly without thinking about eating or drinking garbage to keep me going, and I'm well off. You can do the same exact thing. Get some raw nuts, get some raw seeds, put it in your glove box in your car if you're on the go a lot, and never think about it again. Now, if you work in an office and there are times where you will be backed up, you will not be able to go to lunch at the usual time. You will not be able to get food from the place that you normally do to stay on track. Prep your own food. I tell this to all my clients. You only need to spend 2 hours a week prepping healthy meals and snacks in bulk. Spend Sunday afternoons, especially when football season is not in play, and then Wednesday evenings, all right? Because if you're using real, whole, organic foods, these foods only last for a few days when they're refrigerated, so you want to eat them pretty rapidly. So select a meal. You can get my healthy recipe book. I'll include that in the description below if you want to check that out. Or find some healthy recipes online. Paleo, keto recipes should be fine. And prep a healthy meal in bulk. Shouldn't take you more than an hour, might take you even less time. And then all you gotta do is divide it up into Tupperwares. If it's healthy meals and snacks like carrot sticks, celery sticks, apples, whatever, you can put them in Ziploc bags and literally day by day, based on your schedule, grab as needed. And even if you're not expecting, you can grab as needed and worry about it later. Then on Wednesday evening, repeat the process. I know, especially if you have a hard job and you're a parent and you got a lot of stuff going on, both at work and at home, that may not be the most ideal thing, but it's 2 hours of your week and you're prepared for the next few days, which is perfect. So that way there are no excuses. You can stay on track. So getting back to that, once you prepare these healthy meals and snacks in bulk, most offices these days have a kitchen area, or at the very least, a refrigerator and a microwave. So if your office has that, I'm willing to bet it does, grab a couple of healthy meals and healthy snacks and put them in the fridge and then microwave them up. Obviously, microwave isn't ideal. You definitely prefer to bake or grill something if you can, but obviously most offices don't have that extensive of a kitchen area, and that's okay. So just microwave it. Is it the best thing in the world? No, but it's definitely better than going to get pizza or Chinese takeout or something fast, cheap, and shitty that's going to undo a lot of the progress that you've made. Because with a lot of people, grains are not only inflammatory, but they are also addictive. Foods with added sugar are also incredibly addictive. Foods with artificial sweeteners and colorings and preservatives that really messes up your gut microbiome, which will slow down your metabolism, cause your hormones to go out of whack, and lead to excessive fat and weight retention. Obviously, these are not things that we want. So, in staying true to everything, all you need to do is prep, bring stuff to work, and that way on those days where you got a lunchtime meeting where you're on a deadline, you can't really take an extensive lunch, take 2 minutes, go to that fridge, warm up that food, wolf it down at your desk while you're working, and you're good to go. It's really that simple. And also, there's certain fruits and nuts and seeds, again, that you can bring and put in your desk for those times where you can't take lunch, but you want to have food on hand so that you're not starving and you're not tempted to call up the local pizza place or Chinese takeout. So I hope you found this helpful. So in the description below, obviously, I just already talked about my healthy recipe book. It spans 72 recipes spanning breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, appetizers, and desserts, and it'll really give you a good starting point for recipes you can utilize to stay on track and lose weight for good. They're great tasting recipes. I've heard a lot of great things from a lot of my clients. Also, I'm looking for my next success story. So if you're motivated and you're sick and tired of being overweight and of being unhealthy, and you're willing to take responsibility, take direction, and make a permanent change, then you're definitely going to want to check out my Next Success Story program. I'm accepting applications until April 9th of this year, 2018. So all you need to do is in the description below the healthy recipe book link, you can go to weightlossbypete.com/next success story. There's a video above where you can learn more about it. And basically, if it sounds like something good to you, just fill out the health questionnaire. If you look like a good fit, I'll get back to you within 24 hours and we'll set up a program startup call at that point. I'm looking for my next success story. As you can see on my website, if you go to weightlossbypete.com and the Happy Clients tab on top, you see a lot of different people from a lot of different walks of life who have made miraculous strides in their health and in their weight loss efforts just by making a few simple tweaks. It wasn't complicated. It wasn't difficult for them to understand. Obviously, overcoming physical and mental addiction to certain types of food and sedentary way of life is difficult, but it can be overcome. And on this program, I'm going to help you every step of the way with a personalized fitness and nutrition program. You're definitely not going to want to miss it. So if you think you're going to be a good fit, just go to weightlossbypete.com/next success story and apply. And like I said, fill out the health questionnaire. I'll get back to you within 24 hours. This is Pete Weintraub, permanent weight loss specialist. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast or watching the daily vlog. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a